This is Take 5, a 5-minute thought from Evangelical Alliance Ireland. And I'm Paul Ritchie, and I've been looking at the issue of mental health. And I want to finish this week by thinking about how you can be of help to your friends who are struggling with mental health issues. Let me start with the negative. Don't say, "I know how you feel." The reason I say this is that I was in a church where someone was struggling with their mental health, and another woman came along beside that person and kept saying, "I know how you feel. I was there too." And the person who was struggling came to me and said, "This is really annoying me because they're not taking the time to listen to where I'm at. It just feels like I'm being pushed away by this 'I know how you feel.'" You see, when you say to someone, "I know how you feel," you're not taking the time to engage with how they feel. Also, you're making a great assumption. I struggle with OCD, but I can't be sure how that same illness might affect other people. You might struggle with postnatal depression, but it may affect you differently than it affected your friend. The loving thing to do is listen. Find out where they are. The second thing is to think about this listening and be confident that good listening is great help. My friend Brenda is a lecturer in the University of Maynooth in psychology, and I asked her some questions regarding mental health, and this is what she told me. The most important thing in a counseling relationship is what's called the therapeutic alliance. Now, what is a therapeutic alliance? The therapeutic alliance is how comfortable you feel with your therapist. And she said, even if that therapist isn't particularly good at what they do, if the therapeutic alliance is strong, that's the most important thing. In other words, going to someone that you feel comfortable with and telling them how you feel and hearing that you're being listened to is the biggest part of counseling. And that really encouraged me as someone who works in the pastoral care team of our church, because it means that even though my knowledge is limited, if I can be the sort of person that people feel free to be open with, and if I listen well, I'm doing the biggest part of counseling for them. And so become a safe person to open up to. I should say another thing about this. I have a counselor friend, and I noticed something that she would do. She wouldn't talk about her problems, but she would throw in her own weaknesses every now and then. And I called her out on this, and I said, "I think you're doing that on purpose. I think what you're trying to do is to show this person that you have weaknesses like all the rest." And she admitted that was true. You may not struggle with depression, but you struggle. All of us struggle. All of us have gone through pain. All of us have weaknesses. And the truth of the matter is, we generally only feel open to talk to people who we know have an element of brokenness in their lives. They're the best listeners. And so if you want to be someone that people feel free to come to, be open about your own weaknesses, whatever they are. Don't dominate the conversation with those weaknesses, but be the sort of person that people can be real with. And then there's another negative. And that negative is don't fire Bible verses at people. A friend of mine had a nervous breakdown many years ago, and she came to me and she said, "I'm so tired of Christians telling me Romans 8, God works all things together for the good of those who love him." I actually began to get cynical about that verse until I went through depression myself, and I found that that truth did help. But I realized that it wasn't the problem of the text that my friend was encountering. It was the problem of people who simply want to fire a text to solve you, to sort you out. In other words, they're not engaging with you, but trying to give you something to push you away with. Be careful about using Bible verses, because it can sound like we don't care about someone if we don't take the time to listen to them. And then my final thing. If you are caring for someone with mental health issues, particularly if you're married to them, make sure that you spend time to look after your own mental health. Make sure that you don't feel guilty to take time out for things that give you joy. Make sure that you can take time aside to rest and continue to do things that you enjoy doing, whether it's TV or a book or travel or whatever it is that helps you. Make sure that you keep looking after yourself, in particular your relationship with God, because you want to be strong and able to help them, and you want to be alive in order to help them. Anyway, I hope these have been helpful. This is Paul Ritchie. This is being Take 5, a 5-minute devotion from the Evangelical Alliance of Ireland. God bless you.